Jai. Sri Chaitanya Vishnu Stapitam Bhutale Sarvabhutalakanam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Radhikam Shri Guru Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sadhanam Sajam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Shri Vishakam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishe Saraswati Pashyadhyate Shatari Namo Mahavadamyaya Krishna Premsadari Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Radha Kanta Namaste Taptakanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Pranamami Hari Priya Nilachulanivasaaya Nityaya Paramanani Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Vastudevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vacharam Ambunangayate Yatkrapatam Vande Shri Guru Vinayam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. So we seek the blessings of this grace Pyari Prabhuji, and grace Jiva Mataji Mataji and all the devotees assembled here, so that we can make some humble little bit broken attempts to glorify the Lord and the devotees of the Lord, and to remain absorbed in those glories. Yes. No. Yes. That's good. So we will discuss today we will meditate today on one of the key verses in the prayers of Mother Kunti Devi. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8th chapter. The most celebrated prayers of Mother Kunti Devi begin from text 18, and this is one of the acme verses of the intensity of Sharanagati and surrender which Kunti Devi, Mother Kunti Devi is highlighting. So we will touch upon today to text 25. 1?
8, 25.
25.
1.
1 in 25. It's a very famous verse, which many of you may be going already. Vipeda Shantuta Shashva Tatra Tatra Jagadguru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsya Apunar Bhavadarshanam. I'll go ahead with the translation.
No, you can read from your phone. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, one day. One day, take to two.
Okay. So what all devotees like to recite? Vipeda Shantuta Shashvat
Vipata Shanta
Tatra Tatra Jagadguru
Tatra Tatra Jagataguru
Bhavato Darshanam Yatsya
Bhavato Darshanam Yasya
Apunar Bhavadarshanam
Apunar Bhavadarshanam
Vipeda Shantuta Shashva
Vipada Santu Sasasva
Tatra Tatra Jagadguru
Tata Tatra
Bhavato Darshanam Yatsya
Bhavato Darshanam Yasya
Apunar Bhavadarshanam
Apunar Bhavadarshanam
Vipada Shantuta Shashvat.
Vipada Santu Sasasva
Tatra Jagatguru.
Tatra Tatra Jagadguru
Bhavato darshanam yaksya.
Bhavato darshanam yat syat.
Bhava darshanam. Vipada santuta sashvat.
Vipada santu sasara.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Bhavato darshanam yaksya.
Bhavato darshanam yasyat.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
Vipada santu tat satsat.
Vipada santu tasat.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Bhavato darshanam jatsat.
Bhavato darshanam tasyat.
Apuna bhava darshanam.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
Mataji.
Vipada shantu tasashva.
Vipada santu sasara.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Bhavato darshanam yacha.
Bhavato darshanam yasyat.
Apuna bhava darshanam.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
Vipada shantu tasashva.
Vipada santu tasarva.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Bhavato darshanam yatsya.
Bhavato darshanam yasyat.
Apuna bhava darshanam.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
Vipada santu tasashva.
Vipada santu sasara.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Darshanam yatsya.
Bhavato darshanam yasyat.
Bhava darshanam.
Apunar bhava darshanam.
Vipada shantuta shasvat.
Vipada santu sasara.
Tatra tatra jagat guru.
Tatra tatra.
Bhavato darshanam yasya.
Bhavato darshanam yasyat. So,
He's struggling and
Yeah.
Prabhuji is trying.
you see the word. So you have to fix it. You got my point?
Yeah, got it.
Word to word meaning. Vipadaha.
Vipada,
Calamities.
calamities,
Shantu.
Shantu.
Let there be.
Let them be.
Taha.
Taha,
All. Shashvat.
Shashvat.
Again and again.
Again and again.
Tatra.
Tatra,
There.
there.
Tatra.
Tatra,
And there.
and there.
Jagat Guru.
Jagadguru,
O Lord of the universe.
O Lord of the universe.
Bhavata.
Bhavata,
Yad.
Yad.
Darshana.
Darshana.
Meeting.
Meeting.
Yet.
Yet.
That which.
That which.
Sya.
Yat.
Is.
Is.
Apunaha.
Apunaha.
Not again.
Not again.
Bhavadarshanam.
Bhavadarshanam.
Seeing repetition of birth and death.
Seeing repetition of birth and death. Can you fix to decrease the font? Yeah.
So you can pinch out and pinch in. Zoom on the keyboard. You can.
Zoom out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Further. Further. Yeah. Perfect.
Very spiritual.
Too small for us to read.
That's good. That's good.
Is this fine?
Yeah.
I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Purpose by Srila Prabhupada. Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive, who have performed some pious activities, worship or begin to worship it the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in Bhagavad-Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual life, spiritual realization, because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all the material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. So Mother Kunti Devi is praying that I wish all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. The strength of the process of bhakti and devotional service is that it helps us to steer through the thick and thin. It helps us to steer through the most unwanted and the most profusely permeating ingredient in this world, and that is suffering or calamities. So whereas the modus operandi of the material world is always to create a new plane of illusion and go and situate oneself there, and when that bubble, soap bubble, or that plane of illusion is broken, and try to look for and search for another plane of illusion and get submerged in that, and then that bursts up, and then search for another plane of illusion and another plane of illusion and another plane of illusion. So we can see in reality, material world is very limited because material world gives us very limited amount of it gives us very limited amount of happiness. It gives us a very limited amount of degrees of freedom. So rather when one starts, means if we say that, okay, if we start on a neutral gear where we are, whereas now if you see from the point of view of consciousness, the neutral gear is the platform of sattva or the mode of goodness, where the degrees of freedom are enormous. But the proceedings of this material world progressively entangle one into passion and then headstrong towards ignorance, where we see the degrees of freedom are reducing. The ability for a person to discriminate, to resist, to tolerate the situations goes on reducing progressively. And we see in proportion the experience of suffering and emptiness and helplessness goes on increasing. When Srila Prabhupada describes or elaborates upon Lord Krishna's description of lust towards the end of the third chapter from 336 to 42, then it is being elaborated that yes, these progressive coverings of lust take the form of the various modes, whereas the least covered situation is the mode of goodness, which is compared to a fire which is covered with smoke. And therefore the fire is not visible. But then when it gets more intensified, that means by fluffing around, by traversing around this world, what happens is that a lot of dirt comes into one's heart, and that state is compared to as a mirror which is covered with dust. And therefore, in that state, there is there is an acute lack of vision, because the dust is covering the mirror, so one cannot have a vision. One cannot understand right from wrong. One cannot understand what is good, what is bad, what is long-lasting, what is flickering, what is superfluous, what is deep. One cannot distinguish what is bhakti and what is bhakti abhas. Wherein bhakti stands for the core principles of devotional service, and bhakti abhas is that which looks like bhakti or devotional service, but it is empty, hollow. It is not bhakti. So there is that. But then a person, and the characteristic of passion is that a person doesn't remain on the ground of passion. So, yeah, the person goes down. And goes down, he goes to the mode of ignorance, which is described as just like a small infant child, in the womb of the mother. So this child is not visible, there is a very less interface Probably the movements of the kicking of the child can be a little bit felt only by the mother, but nothing else. And nothing else. So that is compared to as a mode of ignorance. So we see that this material world is very limited in terms of what it is offering us. So rather, whatever is there, that is also taken up. Well, Lord Krishna explains that every living entity, when they so decide to come into this material world, and the Lord gives each one of the living entities, that means each one of us, the life of Brahmaji. The life of Brahmaji. So that means infinite amount of freedom. Whereas it is explained in Brahmaloka, the residents of Brahmaloka at the end of the life of Brahmaji, if they so want, they can go to Vaikuntha. That chance is easier. That chance is available for them. So that means Brahmaji, anyways, he goes to hand over his. So he goes to the Vaikuntha. At the end of it, then they come out. And from that position to glide down to this position, wherein we see numerous obstacles, wherein we see numerous provocations, wherein we see, as they say or as it is said, explosions without and implosions within. Therefore, this material world is also described as a prison house without walls. It doesn't have any walls. But the most interesting or rather horrifying aspect is that although it doesn't have walls, but very few people want to come out of it. So now if there is something which has nothing to offer us, the material world has nothing much to offer us. There is a very little film of happiness which is transient. So before we realize that one is acquired, then it is lost. And before we realize that one is acquired, then it is lost. And therefore, many times we see that everybody, no matter whatever trajectory they take and whatever accolades they gain in between, everybody lands up towards a destination of depression and emptiness and stress. I'm just remembering that there was this Indian shooter. His name was Mr. Abhinav Bindra. And he was the first one to get a gold medal for India in the Olympics in shooting. And he was at the top of the world when that happened because he was the first Indian citizen ever who had got hold of the gold medal of the Olympics in shooting. But that's not the end of the story. It was not happily ever after. The problem is the problem is people stop seeing. They said, okay, he has come on the billboards, he has come everywhere on the newspapers, and that's the end of it. And they lived, and he lived, and they lived, and happily ever after. But we dig into it deeper. So when it took him 16 years when it was his fourth Olympic attempt, wherein he could do it. And because it took him 16 years to be able to achieve this feat, he was not having the stamina to handle it once again. The pressure, the stress, the odds, and to again stand back. So that means that was the end of it. And now here was Mr. Abhinav Bindra himself talks about, he himself stated that when he had achieved this for a very small period of time and when everybody was saluting him, he was at the top of the world, but very soon, people forget very soon everything. So even great achievements. And now he was questioning himself, what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do now? And this question was so much daunting and haunting that it was completely overwhelming and eating up his existence. But what am I supposed to do now? For the past 16 years, at least he had some motivation and some goal to do something. But okay, I need to get the gold medal. Now he's got the gold medal. Now what? So he was completely eaten up by that. So much so he landed up in clinical depression. He landed up in clinical depression. It took him quite many months, couple of months to come out of it. Then he thought, okay, maybe I can open a training institute now. Train some others to run on the same track.
Same track. Get into depression.
So the point is, in this material world, it does not matter whether we get success or not. The pathway of failure and the pathway of success both lead to misery, ultimately. Both lead to misery, ultimately. So therefore, this material world in one sense is a very difficult place. Still people don't want to get out of it. And the reason is why, because material world hovers around on the plane of illusion. And there are these waves of illusion. So material world doesn't have much to offer. But because what it is offering up is newer and newer flavors of illusion. And therefore one feels like trying out this, trying out that, trying out this. Now on the ground of reality, there are very strong limitations to what the material world can offer. But Brahmaji himself is wondering, and he's expressing in the pages of Bhagavatam, that what are people captivated by in this material world? And people are saying happiness. So Brahmaji himself is wondering and scratching his head. He said, I did not put anything. I did not put any, the ingredient called as happiness, I did not put that ingredient only what are people chasing after. And, but this material world is so overwhelming in that sense that we see the person gets completely lost and obsessed. So in reality, it has nothing to offer, but on the ground of but it transports a person from reality to the ground of illusion. And as soon as a person comes on the plane of illusion, there are no limits. That is the problem of illusion. So where are limits in an illusion? Is there any limit to illusion? So, and rather, the Bhagavatam explains, very technically from Tattva point of view, that the problem of, this illusion is a multi-layer illusion, actually. And so, the means what? That illusion creates further illusion. The next level of illusion. And when a person comes to the next level of illusion, then a person forgets that he is illusion. And that means checkmate. Because if we understand we are in illusion, then we can try to come out of it. But if the person is in illusion about being illusioned, where is the possibility of coming out? So that's like a checkmate situation, and therefore life after life the living entity keeps on traversing on these waves of illusion which only lead to one destination called as suffering. Which only lead to this one destination called as suffering. And therefore, we see Srila Prabhupada is describing the purport here that all these calamities and suffering is illusion. Because it is a dream. And Srila Prabhupada is so Srila Prabhupada is explaining that all these calamities and suffering, it is a dream. Now, if we read it in the first go, at the first point of interface, one will see that, okay, it seems to be quite strong. It's quite eye-opening or bursting or exploding. It's a dream. Everything is a dream. But if you see that this world, we are thriving and running around into these waves of illusion. So yes, therefore Bhagavatam explains, so yes, what Prabhupada is saying is very, very true, that it is all a dream. That what is good, what is bad, it is all a dream. So, and therefore the verdict of the Shastras and the Acharyas is that don't dream.
Wake up.
Don't dream. Because all dreams, all kinds of dreams, what is the final destination of every possible kind of dream? And the Shastras and the Acharyas are echoing at the top of their lungs and in a most emphatic way that the destination of all these variegatedness of varieties of different kinds of dream, the destination, the final destination, if one lands up in a different in a dream, the dream leads ultimately to scream. So people dream and they scream. And then they again dream only to again scream.
Scream even more.
So there is dream, there is scream. And there is dream and there is scream. Prabhupada explains this, that there is hankering, there is lamentation. There is this pendulum of hankering and lamentation. And hankering and lamentation. Hankering and lamentation. So there is dream and there is scream. Because what is missing? And this is going to go eternally. The dream, scream, scream, dream is going to go eternally. Because one is not adding the cream of Krishna consciousness, the cream of Sharanagati to Krishna. And that is the proposition, that is the Vastava Vastu. So Krishna is the Vastava Vastu, and everything else does not matter. And this is what we see Mother Kunti Devi is explaining in this prayer. So Mother Kunti Devi is highlighting, means yes, we see that the purpose of these prayers of Mother Kunti Devi is to somehow or the other hold the Lord. Hold on, latch on to the lotus feet of the Lord, not let the Lord go. And Lord Krishna was saying that everything is all right now in the Singapore. So all good and I'm leaving. And her heart was somehow wanting to bind Krishna, somehow to hold on to the lotus feet of Krishna, not let him go. And she was latching and catching on to the Supreme Lord. And that is, and that's what Mother Kunti Devi is highlighting. And therefore, in her great intensity of loving attachment for Krishna, and in the verse just before this, she is listing out all the calamities which had happened in her life. Now, this is normal. We hear many times people list out these calamities. Sometimes they even show in movies that there is this main character and he goes in front of God and says, "Oh God, you did this to me. I'm just giving you a last chance." There is one problem with my family. Somebody, this is your last chance to prove yourself. I have never come and bowed down in front of you. But if you can, this is your last chance. And then they are banging the bell, and then their blood is hand is bleeding, and all this kind of thing they are showing, and things don't work out. So we show, and so when people many times when they recount the problems and the miseries they have, then that is to put a blemish to God. But here, Mother Kunti Devi is showing us what is the right consciousness. And Mother Kunti Devi is also recounting all the problems. But she is in ecstasy, she is recounting all the problems because she is remembering that okay, this problem came in our life and you were there right with us, Haripol. So, and then this problem came, but you were there right with us. And right with us. And therefore, Mother Kunti Devi is telling, please be there always with us. Even if it means giving us problems, give us more problems, no problem. If you are there, then no problem. So by here we are understanding that therefore so what we learn from this is that this prime aspect of this problem of suffering gets these problems of suffering get sublimated when there is absorption in Krishna consciousness, the activities of Krishna consciousness. So the Bhagavatam explains that this entire experience of suffering starts from expectations. As the living entity lingers around the trajectories and the lanes of this material world, one starts developing innumerable expectations. Expectations about oneself and one's caliber, expectations of how family members should reciprocate, of how parents should reciprocate, wife should reciprocate, children should reciprocate, expectations of boss should reciprocate. And interestingly, none of it works out. And that leads to suffering. And leads to suffering. So in the first place, is that okay, let go of expectations. If one lets go of expectations, material expectations. Because in the first place, expectations themselves are illusory. So one lets go of expectations, then whatever is the phase of the situations, one is unaffected by it. But the point is, on one's own strength, one cannot let go of expectations. Just like by walking around in an infected area, one cannot help being infected oneself. So to let go of expectations, one has to build one's immunity. And that is what happens by devotional service. Therefore, Prabhupada is highlighting on, Srila Prabhupada is highlighting on the practice of devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining that the nature and the proclivity of a devotee is that tolerating all kinds of sufferings, one remains steadfast in one's activities of devotional service. One remains steadfast in the activities of devotional service. So the Shastras and the Acharyas are not teaching us to keep dreaming about good times. The Shastras and the Acharyas are teaching us, okay, good times, bad times, Krishna conscious activities, all the times. That's what the Acharyas themselves stand by. And that is what the Shastras themselves, are teaching us. So we see that so therefore, what is needed is to grab on to the calamities, to grab on to the intensity of Krishna conscious activities, to increase the intensity of Krishna conscious activities. And that is what is most needed. So this material world is is a dangerous place because one can get bewildered and illusioned at any time for no reason whatsoever. Now the Shastras explain that okay, one should be humble to advance in spiritual life, but this material world is such that one can get proud of one's humility also. And I am a very humble devotee of the Lord. Very humble devotee of the Lord. Proud of one's humility also. So the material world is a very risky place. So therefore, if the pathway and trajectory is all good, then there are a lot of chances that one may get bewildered and bewitched. And so much so one may not realize where is one going and one may deviate from the path back to Godhead. Therefore, this material world is very expertly, a lot of sufferings and obstacles come. I remember one time His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was explaining that many times there are these highways you are driving, and because it is a broad highway and you're driving at a high speed and no much problem, there is and for miles and miles one has to go like that. One may doze off. But then he was explaining that sometimes on the both sides of the roads, there are all these obstacles which are put. So as soon as one goes this side, that side, or wrong side, then there is going to be jerks. And if there are jerks, the person can wake up and save an accident. The person will save an accident. So many times these sufferings act like that. Anytime these sufferings act like that. So therefore, one has to, these sufferings act like that. Anytime these sufferings, they act like the speed breaker to wake us up. You know? So shake up and wake up so that we can take up.
Nice.
That's what these sufferings say.
Why suffering is illusion? Because suffering is either related to the body or mind. You are neither the body nor the mind. And we understand from Bhagavad-Gita as it is 15.7, Mameva ansha jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana, mana shasthani indriyani, prakriti sthani karshati. Struggle is because of being forgetful of our eternal relationship with Krishna. We are Krishna's eternal part and parcel, and the five senses in the mind struggling because we are trying to exploit or enjoy material nature, though we are supposed to engage everything, including our own self, in the service of Krishna. So actually we are trying to be Krishna, we are trying to replace God in our life and in the life of others. So till the time we try to be enjoyers and masters, we'll continue suffering. And the other thing was when I was hearing Prabhu, then, okay, we are eternal part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is Purna Satchidananda. We are part and parcel Satchidananda. That means our natural state is happy state. So if we are not happy, that means we are on wrong path. So the people who are not practicing God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, are definitely in suffering and ignorance, but sometimes while practicing bhakti also, if we are not feeling like pratyaksha avagamam dharmyam susukham kartum avyam. Bhagavad-Gita is the king of all knowledge. Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam, Pavitram, Idam, Uttamam. Pavitram, all purifying, Uttamam. We'll get out of the ignorance. Pratyaksh. Other person need not to tell it. We'll also, if we practice as it is, then we'll experience that happiness. So pratyaksh avagavam dharmyam susukham kartum avyam. So if we are not happy while practicing, that means there is some misapplication. Srila Prabhupada has given us the perfect process, the perfect recipe. So we are playing around with our Krishna consciousness, or might be following some aspects and not following other aspects. And that is a greater suffering than the suffering of the non-devotees. Because they are in ignorance. We are getting all mercy and still we are not submissive to the process wholeheartedly. That's the cause of our suffering. Because our natural state is ananda. So that I was analyzing when we were reading this verse. And the cause of this is forgetfulness. So I was just remembering a few Vaishnava songs while Prabhu was discussing this. Bhuliya tomare sansare asiya penana vidhi vyartha. Forgetting you, I came to this world and all suffering started. In mother's womb, I was suffering. I came out. So my parents were supposed to tell me that not only just material education, but spiritual education, that this is a rare chance. Human body is a rare chance. Like Srila Prabhupada disciple Adi Purush Prabhu was in Prabhupada Arrival Festival in Boston, was mentioning that Rishabdev is teaching his sons, don't take this human life casually. Human beings have a choice. If you make the right choice to follow, as it is, the process of Krishna consciousness, then not only will become happy eternally by being with Krishna in the spiritual world, we'll become happy at this moment. So then we were born and again put into the illusion of worldly gain. And then further, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, we acquired education. In the childhood, we get pampered so much by our parents. Then as soon as we got educated, we became proud. Jad vidya mayar vaibhav tomar bhajan bhada. So we became proud of our material designations. And then dhan uparjan bhrami deshe deshe. To earn money, I kept going from one place to another place. And then he is lamenting in the whole Vaishnava bhajan, in the whole song, and then said, now the old age has come and I have not done bhajan. So, so that's the problem. So the main purpose of getting this human body is to revive our eternal relationship with Krishna. We are trying to do everything, but even after coming to bhakti, bhakti becomes the last priority. So it's like primary life and secondary life. So our secondary life is our conditional duties related to our families, our academics, our professional life, our social life. And Krishna consciousness is the main primary goal. So we are making secondary as the priority and primary is going in the background. From the life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a householder and he was a magistrate. Though he has so much responsibility in the present life, but his main life was his Krishna consciousness, where he's putting more of his heart, time, and energy. That was Krishna consciousness. So then, like in the end, we are lamenting that again we missed the chance. So that's why on daily basis we all should meditate on the mercy we have received. We were not qualified. And the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada disciples. Yogyata bichare kichu nahi pai. Yogyata bichare kichu nahi pai. Tamar karuna sara. Karuna na haile kandiya pranana rakhivar. So that Radharani is Karunamai and the Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession, is showering that Karuna of Srimati Radharani in our life. So we had no qualification and this causeless mercy has been bestowed upon us. So we should never forget, on daily basis, we should have that gratitude meditation that without Prabhupada, what you might, all of us where would have been and what you might have been doing there. Like life without Prabhupada is, we can't think about what we are talking about, the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, we might be doing the same things. So then, so we were not qualified. On daily basis we meditate, so we keep the main thing, the primary as primary. So our secondary should be in integration with the primary, so that we are progressing in Krishna consciousness. Not that on the temporary grounds we want to be so successful, so recognized in this world that we lose the primary. So that was one part in this. Then sufferings and sufferings will do come till the time we are hovering on the plane of body and mind. So then I was remembering one more Vaishnava song, Vaishnava Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Because we know, like Prabhupada is mentioning, it's dream state. But even though we know we are not the bodies, we have not realized that. That's why we get affected when something happens on the bodily level or on the mental plane. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying how to get out of that. He said, Atma nivedan tuapade kori hoino parama sukhi dukha dura gela chinta na rahila chandri ke ananda dekhi ashoka bhaya amrita adhara tomar charana dvaya tahate khona vishramala bhiya na bhave bhave na bhaya purva itihasa bhulino sakala seva sukha parimahane seva sukha dukha parama sampada na bhave bhave na dukha. So I like this line, that how to get out of the miserable experiences that we had in our life. Seva Suparimane. The more we engage in Krishna consciousness, that is the way to get out of the experience of misery. And that will make us more tolerant and we will realize that we are on a journey. And sometimes journey is smooth and sometimes there are some jerks. So how the devotees see problem in their life, that makes them more determined to practice Krishna consciousness wholeheartedly in this lifetime. So as Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj used to say, give this one life to Krishna. So all of us on daily basis, should do the self-analysis. Am I giving this life fully to Krishna, or I'm doing it part-time? Okay, if we are thinking that because we have heard that, okay, if we are doing bhakti little, next life it will start from that 21%. But then I was thinking, okay, if that is our way of thinking, and we are thinking, okay, whatever we are able to do, fine. Next life, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad-Gita, we'll get the birth, Shuchimatam, Srimatam, Ge, Yoga Vrashta Vidayate. But then the son of Kubera, Shuchimatam, Srimatam, Ge. Now Kartik is coming. So what is the guarantee even being born in wealthy families or devotee families? Because when we get everything very easily, without struggle, we are not able to appreciate it. So then I thought during my medical school days that, okay, we are doing half bhakti, and then there is risk, because first you go to Swarga, and then the life is there 10,000 years. By the time we come down, ISKCON is find it a pastime, and then that's what made me take Krishna consciousness seriously, because I calculated, oh, why to take a chance? So I received Harinam initiation after my MBBS only, because I thought whatever we have to do, we have to first fix our Krishna consciousness. So we should try to live in a way that if the placement call comes, then we are ready to leave this body. So, like, we try to we are always worried about our placement, and nowadays we are worried about our PR and citizenship. But we are not the citizen of this material world. We're the citizen of the spiritual world. We should be worried to go back there.
Yeah.
That's what, like, I'm just sharing that what is making me take it as much as I can, because Adaman had a good life before. He was a son of a devotee, whole life he was doing bhakti, and then one mistake and all those things. But we don't have fast credits. So why we are thinking second chance, third chance? Why not take it as the last chance? Then we will take it very seriously. And the world situation is going to be more tougher and tougher. So the 10,000 years calculation made me think in my MBBS second year I started chanting 16 rounds, because I think I'll do my undergrad, then I'll do my specialization, then I'll marry, then my husband and me will discuss whether we should practice bhakti now or we should leave it for the old age. So why we are always trying to keep Krishna at the last? Being Krishna conscious means whatever we are doing, we have to prioritize whether Srila Prabhupada and Krishna will be happy with this or not. Otherwise, like, I'm just speaking for my own self also. Otherwise, even after getting initiated, even after being for years and years in ISKCON, we'll miss it. Because then we become complacent. Like in India, we have that rabbit and tortoise thing. So we will see some devotee who has no background of any pious life, and that, or maybe the most sinful person, but he's the most repentant soul. So when such a person takes up Krishna consciousness, they take it with more gratitude. And like, if that gratitude is lacking, then we are just proud, okay, I'm chanting and all. So that's what I was thinking, that we should not play around with our Krishna consciousness. And then when Prabhuji was talking this, another thing, so at that point I liked in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's bhajan. Whatever bad experiences we had in our life, that can be wiped off. If we start getting, if we actively engage in the service of Hari Guru Vaishnava. Because what will happen? Sukham, we will get so much pleasure, so much happiness, that we'll forget about that past and we'll become more determined that I was not qualified to receive so much mercy. I had such a bad past or experience, either I'm troubling other or they are troubling me. Still, Guru and Krishna, they're merciful. So then I will become more and more serious in bhakti. So that way I was thinking, and just 5 more minutes. Prabhu, is that okay? I can take 5 minutes more.
Yes, sir.
Then what? Like one other point Prabhuji was mentioning, that even if it is success or failure, both are miserable in this world. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita, only devotional service is the highest aim. Yam labdava chaparam labham na manyate adhikam tata. So there is no greater gain. So that's why we should never risk our Krishna consciousness for any material cause. Because in the attempt to gain something temporary, we are losing the very vital or the prime thing of our life. And yeah, I think, yes. And then from Guru Vandana, I was remembering when, and like being from, like as Prabhuji, I did my specialization in eyes, but just treating the material eyes, still, people are still blind because they're blind to self-realization. That's why who is the real eye surgeon? Srila Prabhupada. Because he has offered our darkened eyes. There's one devotee, he's an ophthalmologist, and he was named by his Prabhupada disciple as Shastra Chakshudas, seeing through the eyes of scripture. So that's why, like, I'm very grateful that I'm getting an opportunity to practice and share Krishna consciousness, because by that, we are operating on people and giving them spiritual eyes. Like, that is most important, because when you're able to see clearly, because there are two things. When we, the world is dark and we are in ignorance. So double misery. So that's why in Mangalacharan prayers, we pray, Om Ajnana Timirandasya. So I heard this in one devotee was giving class in Calcutta. So he was mentioning this. One thing is we are in Ajnanata, ignorance. Other thing is it's dark all around. So the Kale Mashashudam. So who is delivering us? Chakshudam dilayai janme janme prabhu se divya jnanam hridaya prakashita prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya vinashayate vedagaya yaha charita. So who has given us the real eyes? Our spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada disciples. So when somebody, so whom we should be grateful, whom we should live for, who has given us another chance? If somebody protects our life, we become grateful to that person forever. Srila Prabhupada has rescued us. After being rescued, how can we again go back to Maya? So, like while just speaking this, there is a song by Srila Lochan Das Thakur. He says, Avatar Sara Gauravatara Kenina Bhajili Tare Kori Nirevasa Gela Nahi Pyasa Apana Karam Pere. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are the epitome of all incarnation, Parama Karuna. Avatar Sara. So how is that? I'm in the water and still I'm thirsty. Means I am in ISKCON, I'm initiated, I'm trying to practice Krishna consciousness. Why still thirst is there? Because of our own karma. Because we are still not doing akarma. We are caught up in sakam karma. And sometimes by doing sakam karma, we get degraded to vikarma. So when we practice bhakti with ulterior motive, and from bhakti abhas, gradually, we go away from bhakti completely. So that's why akar moments we have to do every activity for whom the one who has given us realize. Chakshudanda, Janme Janme Prabhu say, he is my master birth after birth. So that's why it is not just one time, okay, I got initiated. He's my master at every moment. All of us has to think that. Then, oh, there will be so much transformation in our whole life and in the life that we are trying to interact with and share Krishna consciousness with. Because we have to always remember who is our master. And then there will be prema bhakti. So the process to have prema bhakti is gratitude and full submission and surrender to the spiritual master. And avidya vinashayate. So I was just recollecting when Prabhu was talking all this, that naturally we should be happy, but because of being caught up at the bodily level, we are unhappy. And if we engage, active engagement in Krishna consciousness, we will be, because that is mean. Even if we know classes, we can speak verses, but if we are not performing service, if we are not engaged in service, then it is just theoretical. And then the last, that Shuchimatam, Srimatam Gehe, never take the chance, because we also see that these are fortunate souls who are coming as kids in our Krishna consciousness. But it's so difficult to bring, they are so close, but still they are not picking up the way they should pick up, because they are there to complete their bhakti yoga. So as soon as we come out from the mother's womb, again into we are into illusion. So from this verse, what I invite and try to practice is that suffering will not break us. Suffering will make us more strong. That I have to be fully surrendered to Guru and Krishna in this very lifetime. And then there is nothing to worry about. Then they are happy actually. That's why chant and be happy. So chant and be happy when we are chanting to get service. And when we get the service, we are engaged in the service. When we are engaged in the service, then that's the happy state. So thank you so much for giving us opportunity, and please forgive us. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I have a question.
Somebody has some comments, corrections, and questions. Yes, please.
I thought it was excellent class. Just about the bhakti, you were mentioning how there's bhakti, and then there's this like shell of bhakti. So what's this shell of bhakti look like?
The Bhakti Abhas.
Yeah, that's the shell. So, so bhakti and bhakti abhas. In bhakti, there is the primary principles of bhakti, which are enunciated in the Shastras: Yashram, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Arjanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sankhyam, Atma Nivedanam. So these limbs of bhakti are the primary aspects of bhakti. Or this was even summarized in a shorter form by Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, Namaruchi, Jivadaya, and Vaishnava Seva. Namaruchi, Jivadaya, Vaishnava Seva. Taste in the holy name, which comes to practice. And Jivadaya, that is endeavoring to take Krishna consciousness and share Krishna consciousness with people. And Vaishnava Seva, so being a seeker of blessings of the Vaishnavas, and being a seeker or connizer of the blessings of the Vaishnavas. So this is the core principles of bhakti. And there are many, now this is the external, these are the core principles of bhakti, and this is these principles are of bhakti. Therefore we see bhakti is defined in terms of activities. It is not a state, it's an activity. So, therefore, Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that devotee's desire goes on to become Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavata Bhaktir Ahitu Gitwai. Let me go on serving life after life after life. I want to go on serving in the great mission of the Acharyas, the mission of Srila Prabhupada, and assisting his dear servants. So, Prahlad Maharaj described this in his prayers very beautifully also. So, the externals of bhakti, which means externals manifest in terms of scholarship, externals manifest in terms of expertise. Some people are very charismatic, people are very scholarly, people may have, some devotees may have great management skills, one may be very influential. These are the externals which have the potential of bewildering a person. So this is called bhakti abhas. So within the shell of bhakti, that okay, now that we have become devotees, but one may want, nobody one wants to become the best Bhagavatam class giver. One wants to become the best book distributor. I was shocked when so when I joined ashram, then I came to know that in a Delhi temple there was a devotee and he single-handedly was distributing 1 lakh Bhagavad-Gita. The marathon time, 1 lakh Bhagavad-Gita. Single-handedly distributing 100,000. 100,000.
100,000.
Oh,
100,000 Bhagavad-Gita. Single-handedly. Year 1, single-handedly, year 2 single-handedly, year 3 single-handedly. And he was like, amazing. Year 4 he was not in Krishna consciousness. I'm not sure. so, so bhakti is not calculated in terms of figures. That okay, this is my achievement. How much funds I can get, how many people I can turn on to become devotees. Bhakti is attributed in terms of our inclination for performing these core principles of devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smarana. Vaishnav Seva, and Jiva Daya, how much we are struggling. Vaishnav Seva. So Prahlad Maharaj describes, this comes in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, 7th canto, 9th chapter. From text 8 onwards, Prahlad Maharaj's beautiful prayers are there. So Prahlad Maharaj is explaining, that verse goes like, Manyedhana Vijana Rupa, Shrapa Tapa Paujasa, Tejo Prabhava, Palpaurusham Buddhi Yoga. Then he says, third verse, the fourth line, he says, Bhaktya Tutosha Bhagavan Gaja Yuthapaya. Can you see this verse? Very beautiful. Dr. Maharaj, 799, 7, 9, and 9. Tejo Prabhava Balupurusha Yoga Naradhanaya Bhavanti Parasya Pumso. Sorry. This one?
Screen is not. It's okay.
Oh, screen is only on. Sorry. Try.
This is
So
799.
Naradhanaya hi bhavanti parasya pumso bhaktya tu dosha bhagavan gaja yuthapaya. So Prahlad Maharaj is describing here, one may possess wealth. Now this is a very interesting and eye-opening list. It says one may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity. Oh, very strict brahmachari. Austerity. Education. It says education also. So one may be a PhD, postdoctorate, education, sensory expertise. Sensory expertise. Sensory expertise may mean a very powerful mridangam playing, very powerful singing, various ragas, which murata, which raga, which time of the day. Luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, which means hard work also. Hard work also. Intelligence and mystic yoga power. Mystic yoga power. But I think, Prahlad Maharaj says, but I think that even by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Gajendra Maharaj did this, and therefore the Lord was satisfied with him. So this is the difference between Bhakti and Abha. This big list is talking about Bhakti Abhas. So, sometimes, the fruit of devotional service is devotional service. So the fruit of chanting is more chanting, and the fruit of service is more service. And if we barter that for anything else, then we are cheating ourselves. So when we are cheating ourselves, then we are chasing behind Bhakti Abhas. That which looks like Bhakti, but it is cheating. So many times people come to ISKCON, they feel that okay, the ISKCON's journey should begin, it begins with ABC, but it should land up in GBC, ABC to GBC. The person that's still a new bhakta, no? Then one gets excited, okay, I got a temple leader and a temple commander and a temple president and then regional secretary and so on and so forth. No, and so it is so one has to so that is so there is a risk. Because in this Bhakti Abhas, all this list which Prahlad Maharaj is speaking, it has a potential to make one proud. And thus one may get lost in name, fame, glory and become an unfortunate story.
Yeah, I just want to say that like we are not qualified, so we should always remember that It's the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, we would not have been practicing Krishna consciousness. So when a person always remembers that I'm not qualified, such a person is always grateful. And if we are not grateful, then Maya will make us grateful. So that's why whatever Krishna consciousness we are able to practice and share with others, we should not take the credit of that. If we take credit, we become proud. And a proud person turns blind and deaf to all corrections, and they will not listen to the good advice. And we should never think that says, हमें कभी भी ये नहीं सोचना चाहिए कि मुझे अभी किसी की शिक्षा की आवश्यकता नहीं है. We should never think that I don't need any more corrections. I'm an advanced devotee. So that's the biggest illusion. Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, in that Vaishnava bhajan, Vaishnav ke, he said, Dushta mana tumi kisera Vaishnava, Kirtana tumhara keval ketva. You're doing so much kirtan, you're showing everyone that you're a very big devotee. But inside mind, what you're thinking about wealth, women, pride. My father says, Puja la pratishtha, shukrer vrishta. So it's like stool of a hog. And said last kill once, pratishtha asha, like desire for recognition, kills forever. So if we take credit, then even the little spiritual potency that we are getting through the parampara by Sharanagati, we will lose that potency and we'll go back to our materialistic way. Even sometime when devotee goes back on the old track, they become even lower than what a materialist will do. So that's why we should never become proud and we should always be grateful. Because if we are not grateful, then Maya will make us grateful. So, Krishna says, Nimit Matra Bhasabhya Sachi. We have to just become instruments. Like one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, his Gopi Barandan Prabhu. And one of the Vyas Puja offering of my Guru Maharaj, I attended for the first time. That time I was not initiated. And there he was mentioning, don't just offer flowers to your spiritual master. Offer your life to your spiritual master so that your spiritual master can use your life in the service of Srila Prabhupada. So that. And then one more is that Prabhupada has given his name, his Makhan Lal Prabhu, later became Maharaj. His holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami Maharaj. And the statement of both of them, I just keep meditating again and again, and I'll continue doing that till the last breath. So he was saying, this is heavy. And this is an eye opener. He said, don't be just initiates, be disciples. Disciple means discipline. And Maharaj was saying, when I was a brahmachari, I was a good brahmachari. When I entered Grihastha, I followed all the rules and regulations of Grihastha life. And the Vanaprastha Maharaj was finally sannyasi. When he was saying, it's not that, and this is Maharaj saying, as it is. So Maharaj was saying, it's not that you have big plasma TVs in your house and your wife and kids are dressing in Mickey Mouse clothes and Lord is there in a small closet. And so he was saying, don't be just initiates, be disciples. Disciple means discipline. Don't be a liability to your guru. He said, I can say that I never did anything that will add to the demise of Srila Prabhupada. Can you say that you are not adding to the demise of your spiritual master? So that's what he was saying. And he quoted, Maharaj was saying that once he was with Srila Prabhupada, and because even some of the sons of Advaitacharya was also not, Krishna's own son is Narkasura, Bhaumasura. From Bhumi Devi, Krishna got a son like Bhaumasura. So it's not the parents' fault. So sometimes some disciples, they don't follow. So some of them were not up to the mark. Then that time Makhanlal Prabhu said, he asked Srila Prabhupada, will you come back for them? Because it's like spiritual master come back with. So Srila Prabhupada said, first you have to understand whom we are calling as my disciples. And then that made him realize that initiation and being disciple is different. Like officially getting married and really living like doing the duties of a wife or a husband. That's different. So sometimes what happens because of the pride of our scholarship and material education, when we come inside, we try checking on Srila Prabhupada, we try checking on Prabhupada disciples. But we have to see, are we bona fide disciples? We keep checking whether the guru is bona fide or not. That's the problem. Are we bona fide disciples? If we are bona fide disciples, then we should understand that Prabhupada has given us the perfect process. We need not to do anything outside what Srila Prabhupada has given us. And then we can go back to Godhead. So that's what it is. So Maharaj was saying, being initiates and being disciple, there is difference. So, and it takes a whole life to be a genuine disciple. So I keep it very safe when I pray. What should I pray? I should become a good doctor, or I should be a good wife, and this and that. No, we should just pray that I should be a good disciple. I should never give trouble to my spiritual master in Srila Prabhupada. So by our activities and behavior, we should never do anything that will not make Prabhupada happy. And if we are able to do any service, we should never hold the credit. Because even Krishna has shown in the Rasa Lila, as soon as the gopis became proud, Krishna went away. So that's why even if we are initiated, first initiated, second initiated, we have done this much. As soon as we think, oh, I am doing so much, and then we will lose it. So that's why this is the most precious jewel of our life. And till last moment, Maya will keep testing us. So we should always have that fearful attitude of careful attention. So that's what I'm speaking is not my tongue. It's like whatever I've heard, I'm just repeating and sharing it because that's what we have to be really safe and really make it sure that we give our 100%. We are not worried whether we'll be able to go back to Godhead. Servant is not worried. Servant's job is to do service. Master is worried for the servant. So when we do bhakti with result orientation, then we are trying to be again masters. We have to do our part as disciple, and then it's nothing for our anxiety to take whether I'm going back to God or what I'm doing. And that's Guru's business. Guru will take us back. So that's thanks.
I can ask you. You're not asking? No, I'm going to ask everybody else. Yeah, go ahead. One last question.
Okay. Mataji, thanks, Mataji. I have a question for you. So you said our suffering is due to the connection with our body and mind. So for the mind, I can understand. But if someone is like, having suffering due to his bodily condition and he can't even serve the Lord, how can he understand this? This is an illimit.
Okay. Because, there's a child who's born with a disease. So we can say that the child doesn't know whether it's his fault, it's because of illusion he's suffering. Or,
It's not about fault. If there's someone is like, whether he was born or after adult, he had I don't know, bodily, condition that when he's in constant suffering due to bodily pain, and he or she even can't serve the Lord. If the suffering is due to mind, yes, we can say easily, okay, devote your mind to Krishna. Then forget about all other mindly suffering.
Yeah.
But if it's due to the bodily, even can't even constant bodily pain, how can you say that it's illusion? I don't see it's practical.
Okay, I'll just try to say what I understood from the question. So there are two things. Like we have example with Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He's bodily suffering a lot, but he's already Krishna conscious. That's why he can continue and never say. So for a person who is self-realized, the bodily suffering situation goes to the situation when Maharaj has difficulty in speaking. He has even the palsy, so it's constant, because tear film, everything is disturbed, eyelashes hurting inside. How can he continue? Because it's self-realized. How Srila Prabhupada could continue? Because from where the disciple learned? From the example of his own spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. At that age, with 2 heart attacks, 3rd heart attack, even now we have so many devotees, but even when we come from India, so we also feel a bit difficult, But when Srila Prabhupada came, how difficult it was for him. So how could he continue? And despite old age and despite bodily suffering, so I'm trying to say that the person who is already Krishna conscious, that person can handle. And in that state, if you're saying if that person in a state that cannot speak, and that way, like there is one, that's Vishnu Prabhu's daughter in Mumbai. So that daughter was a special child. So then they might think, why, some parent will think, why it happened to me, why my child is like that. But His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj said, but she will not commit any sin. You have to just give her Krishna Prasad and make her dear Krishna's name. So that three situations, one who is fully Krishna conscious, for that person, any situation they will continue. And how they will continue? Like we saw how His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj left, how my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj left. So we will think, oh, like some people will think whether in the last moment they adored Hare Krishna or not. But if you read Bhagavad-Gita, fully dedicated devotees, Jivan Mukta. How does that matter? In the last state, they were in coma, like His Holiness Bhakti Madhuri Govind Goswami Maharaj. So, because whole life one who has lived Krishna conscious, that person cannot speak at that last moment. So we recite that. Premanjana Shurita Bhakti Vilochane Sanjana. So they are Jivan Muktas. The second is that, okay, if some bodily situation cannot themselves practice bhakti, but they are fortunately in the sangha of devotees. So they can see the picture. Other devotees will bring picture. Like a devotee's daughter, she was telling me her father got cancer in Delhi, Faridabad. And then the last stages came. So that's the test of the devotee. Diseases will come in any form in anyone's life. Even my mother got recently diagnosed with blood cancer. But what is the difference between a practicing devotees? They are prepared for it. So after all, whatever treatment, we should try to protect the body as much as we can so that we continue suffering, suffering is due to body. So we continue serving, but even after all attempts, if that's the terminal stage, then devotee makes arrangement that other devotees make them remember Krishna. So his daughter was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita to him. They were speaking about Krishna. Kirtan was going on. So then the third stage is, okay, who has no exposure to Krishna consciousness, then we don't know what's going in that person's mind. If a person is repentant, if he has heard from anywhere that this is because of my past karma, then now I'm in this situation, such repentance will also make them progress or give them awakening in Krishna consciousness. And that's what I think I've tried to go closer to it, what you were saying, because I might be very junior to you, but I'm sitting here and I'm sharing. So, yeah, and we experience suffering depending upon the level of consciousness. If we are on the material plane, we'll suffer more. But like I give an example of Srila Prabhupada, then Prabhupada disciples like Srila Swami Maharaj, as well as Radha Govinda Swami Maharaj. Radha Govinda Swami Maharaj for some time was not speaking much. But if you start telling Krishna Katha in front of him and he's going to the places where Krishna had ate the mud, Maharaj starts crying. Sometimes, like now in these final Lila pastimes, some Prabhupada disciples are not able to hold that inner bhava and prema. So sometimes, so that people don't misunderstand it, we don't take a coverage and put it that, okay, our Maharaj is crying, hearing basket, but that's happening. So even if there is on bodily level, body might be some dysfunctional, but the consciousness is evolved.
Thank you
So
so
that way.
Very nice.
Hope I helped with
No,
this.